Fallout news. Hopefully they announce a new Fallout game very soon, and it's made by literally anyone else but Bethesda.
Salutations, everybody. It is Maddie here today, and it is time for a fun one. And by a fun one, I mean we're talking about Fallout, which means it's always fun. Now, we
True.
have a particular bit of news here to open up this video that I think viewers of my channel are going to be really excited about the premise of and what that could potentially mean. It's a bit of speculation, but we're also going to be getting into what's going on with Season 2 of the Fallout TV show, how many awards it's bringing in, when Season 2 may drop.
How many award it's bringing in? If it gets an award, that's sad.
Got a lot of little tidbits here. It's July, so naturally, as I've talked about before, this is the month where you can really focus in on the smaller stories.
Also, what is your prediction for the Fallout TV show Season 2? I think it's gonna bomb so hard it's not even gonna be funny. They are gonna take all of their time completely butchering and destroying New Vegas as hard as they can. And, well, all the tourists are probably gonna be gone, so who's gonna be left to enjoy the show? Yeah, I think it's gonna get real ugly real fast with the Fallout TV show.
And talk about them a little more extensively. So we're going to do just that here today. If you're new here and you're into Bethesda, Fallout content, you're in the right place. Consider subscribing. I want to start off with this story because my response to it is give this man whatever budget he wants, however much time he needs, and let him cook for the Fallout license. Who are we talking about? But Swen Vink and Larian. With this article here from PC.
Oh yeah, true. Larian did say that they would be interested in doing Fallout, which would be amazing. But Todd Howard is sooner gonna actually end himself before allowing a as competent studio as Larian to completely crush him in the only thing that he cares about.
PC Gamer titled, Larian CEO Swen Vink says there were only two other RPG series he was interested in working on if he couldn't get Baldur's Gate, Fallout and Ultima. He says, I felt there was a glass ceiling that we wouldn't be able to break through unless we have AAA production values, budget, marketing, all the AAA things, Vink says. And only a few big name games could make that happen. It would have been Ultima, it would have been Fallout, it would have been Baldur's Gate, he said. There was not a lot to choose from. Obviously, we know where things went, Baldur's Gate. But now, since then, Larian has moved on from Baldur's Gate entirely. No DLC, no more post-launch support outside of hot fixes and the occasional update, but otherwise...
Dude, Larian's minor bug fix patch is literally 5 years of Bethesda updating Starfield. It's crazy. The quality is just not even comparable.
They have moved on entirely from Baldur's Gate, and they've since confirmed they're working on 2 video games. One, I think, is a very safe assumption to be Divinity Original Sin 3. I imagine, with that being Larian's baby, that they're going to want to take that game and give it the Baldur's Gate 3 treatment and see if they can...
Divinity Original Sin is a good franchise, very true.
...bring that series to the next level. Divinity Original Sin has always been amazing, and I always get this bit of nostalgia thinking of the first Original Sin game, because we did make a video of it here on this channel, which I've talked about numerous times, where it was, to me, a hidden gem, and it's so funny seeing how popular Baldur's Gate 3 is and where Larian's at now. Now, allow me to preface all of my excitement and speculation by saying that keep in mind this quote was made in light of them breaking that glass ceiling that Swen was talking about above the company's head. They needed a big AAA game, a big IP to do so, and he had his selection of Baldur's Gate, Fallout, and Ultima, and he ended up getting Baldur's Gate. Okay, they got that. They then moved on. No real post-launch support. Said it didn't feel right. Does that mean, okay, the big IP has now served its purpose. We're going to go work on our own stuff now? I could totally see a world like that. I mean, this company is fierce.
I wonder how this is going to happen. Because you need to understand one thing. While Todd Howard is 100% against Larian touching Fallout, because then his legacy would be forever tarnished, look at the extents that Todd Howard goes to just destroy New Vegas, because it eclipsed him and his magnus opus of Fallout 3. Imagine how far he is going to probably be willing to go to make it so that Larian cannot actually touch Fallout. He is probably gonna tell Xbox, hey, if you allow Larian to make Fallout, I'm quitting. I am burning everything to the ground that I can with my influence. I believe Todd Howard is a low enough person to actually do that. And the fun part is, You can bet one thing. Microsoft is interested in allowing Larian to do these things. Microsoft paid a lot of money to Larian for, Baldur's Gate to do what they have already done. So Xbox is definitely interested in that.
Fiercely independent, but it's still something that I wanted to make sure I address here before we get into the very fun speculation. Seeing that they would be interested in working on Fallout is like a dream game to me. A lot of people always ask me, like, Maddie, we know your favorite game of all time is KOTOR, but like, look, you got a lot of nostalgia with that game. Like, is it ever possible that a game could replace that? And the answer is always yes. Like, I'm open-minded to that. It's gonna take a lot to get there, but it's definitely possible. But I've always said that if there is a company that could make my next favorite game of all time, it was Larian with the right IP. I'm just not a big enough fantasy head to sit here and say that Baldur's Gate 3 is like a favorite game of all time for me. Like, the world, the setting, and the characters mean a lot to me. And in particular, I think Baldur's Gate 3 nails all of that and made me a fan of the series. But if you gave Larian, who has the ability to do all of that so well, with Fallout or Star Wars, I'd lose my mind. But now Fallout's in this really interesting position. This is where the situation gets really interesting to me, because now you have two, in my opinion, goated RPG developers that are being vocal about a potential desire or interest of working on the Fallout franchise. Obsidian's been very loud about this, constantly saying like, hey, we want at least one more chance. And I feel like with Fallout being in the Xbox family of studios and Obsidian Bethesda being owned by Xbox, like, I feel like that's just a matter of when, not if. But then I see something like this, and there was only one other company in my head that I thought was a realistic possibility of reviving like the old school style Fallout 1 and 2 games. And that would be inXile, right? They did Wasteland. They have the assets there. Make a new Fallout game in the Wasteland engine. Like, why not, right? But then I look at Larry and I'm like, well, as much as I love inXile and think they delivered a top tier RPG experience in Wasteland 3, I would not be upset at all if all of a sudden Larian stepped in and said, like, we'll take over reviving the older style Fallout games. I just think it's a perfect fit, not just for
They're not going to revive the older style Fallout games, though. Okay.
the old school fans who have been wanting to get a little love on that side of the fence, but also, like, I think Larian has the ability to bring Fallout fans to this style of RPG and make them love it. Like, the best thing about Baldur's Gate 3 was how uncompromising it was in like the difficulty, in its character development, in its secrets, in its multiple endings. Like, Larian didn't change anything for the popularity, and it's still completely soared to a whole new level. To think of them doing that with Fallout, like, I'd lose my mind. So I hope Bethesda saw this, maybe picked up the phone, just saw, hey, what's the plan moving forward, guys? Like, is there something we could do here? I know this is coming from an optimist point of view. If you were to ask me, like, Maddie, what's the percentage chance of this happening
This is coming from an extreme optimist point of view, though.
right now? Like, I'd say like 30% chance this is happening right now. But to see the interest is there, I wonder if there were any.
I don't know. I think Microsoft definitely wants this, and if Larian is just flat out saying, yeah, we would be interested in this, I think Microsoft is gonna find a way. Because currently, think about it, putting Larian on anything is almost like a guaranteed success at this point.
Preliminary calls, if there's any type of discussions. I mean, I would just love to see Larian in sci-fi of any kind, but if it was Fallout, we may be talking about my next favorite game of all time. I would love to see that happen. So I wanted to share this news here because I think, a little bit of chatter. We see how it's going with Obsidian, that they continue to put feelers out there. Maybe people will see this and realize there's a demand for Fallout Larian, and we'll see where it goes from there. But nonetheless, wanted to put that on your radar. Next one here is really interesting in that Fallout Season 2 reportedly ahead of schedule and won't have an anthology format.
Good. I want Fallout Season 2 to be out as fast as possible. Discussing Fallout was absolutely great. Oh boy.
New interview with Variety, Jennifer Salke and Vernon Sanders discuss the current state of Fallout Season 2, which is reportedly on schedule and apparently making swift progress. Vernon Sanders, head of TV.
Also, one of my predictions is that in Season 2, the Ghouls character is going to be completely obliterated. Because the Ghouls character already has been changed at Season 1's conclusion. because again, his interactions with Lucy. I have talked about this. If you do not understand the Ghoul's character, go watch my videos about Fallout. I talk about Lucy and the Ghoul a lot because they are two great characters, actually. Maximus is something that needs to be buried alive and never spoken again, and everything else is pretty much to be buried alive and never spoken about again. But Lucy and the Ghoul, they are very good characters. And while Lucy is gonna probably continue to be a decent character in season 2, the Ghoul can no longer be the Ghoul because his journey through the season 1 with Lucy pretty much achieved what it needed to achieve, aka he should be changed at this point.
He revealed that, quote, I think we're ahead of schedule in terms of being able to get season 2 back, end quote. They clarified that the creative team still can't offer a concrete launch date or window. However, Sanders did add that, quote, we've already gotten scripts in hand, end quote. This should give fans a better idea of the development timeline. Continue on, they say, in addition to Fallout's schedule, Amazon MGM Studios chief Jennifer Salk addressed rumors about season 2 shifting to an anthology format. Some fans believed it would allow the writers to explore the wider lore of the series. In today's report, Salk did express some interest in
what wider lore of the series. The lore that they took, they already butchered and rewrote. What do they want to do more? What do they want to destroy more? What Fallout lore are they not happy with that they need to rewrite to be even better and amazing for modern day audiences?
saying, quote, it does have a lot of doors we can go through, end quote. However, they reinforced that the show will continue the storyline of the existing characters established in season 1. Sal clarified that, quote, we are fully committed.
That's good, but there's gonna be new characters, and I don't even know how they introduce new characters, honestly, at this point. Is it gonna be just a tried and classic, oh, we meet a random person on the road, now he's a part of the team? Because it's probably gonna be that, isn't it?
The more we hear about season 2, the more I'm feeling like it's not going to be a long shot to hear that this is coming out at the top of 2026.
I am unhappy.
I mean, we might see a trailer by the end of 2025 even. Like, I feel they're storming away. To have scripts in hand already for season 2 and having them, like, rehearsing lines, getting a feel for the plot, they, number one, had to have had a vision, but number two, like, sprinted away with this success, which is, as a Fallout fan, what I was hoping to see. It's interesting to see how it's developed, though. What went from my...
Listen, if you're a Fallout fan and you watch the Fallout TV series and you say this is amazing, you're no Fallout fan. You're just a tourist at best. A shill at... Well, even a shill is honestly probably at best here.
Initial perspective of, this could be an interesting experiment to, oh my god, that was so good, I want season 2 as soon as possible. The only thing I hope for, as I've talked about in the past, is that if season 2 is to arrive sooner rather than later, that it still has the same time, care, and quality put into it that season 1 had there. Yeah, season 1 had the surprise factor of many of us going in, as we always do with video game, TV, and movie stuff, thinking, how is this gonna fare? Like, you know, I'm thinking of the Borderlands movie coming out soon. Like, how is this gonna fare? There's always that degree of uncertainty.
Is the Borderlands movie gonna be an absolute disaster? I think it's probably gonna be an absolute disaster.
But when it delivers, like a Cyberpunk Edgerunners, or a Fallout TV show, or even the initial seasons of The Witcher, it's like, oh, okay, hold on.
By the way, you see this? This is why you don't play on console Fallout. This is just atrocious.
Now we're cooking. Give us more as soon as possible. It feels like it can't be that far off in the terms of, you know, a couple of years from now, like 2 years from now. I mean, you hear how The Boys season 4 is wrapping up this week, or did wrap up this week, and in a couple of years, in 2026, is the final season. So I feel like 2 years isn't that much of a stretch. And if they're ahead of schedule, maybe we hear or see something about 2025. On a quick separate note here about them kind of ignoring the anthology.
I never got into The Boys. The Boys were literally nothing special. Because, okay, if you know me, you probably understand why I never got into The Boys. But if you don't, this is how I started watching The Boys after I heard everyone saying, wow, it's really good, blah, 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 blah. So I start watching episode 1. And it starts with a train accidentally mowing down a person and they just turn into a pile of mist, okay? And that was supposed to be shock value. And then it's like, oh, he doesn't even care about the fact that he accidentally killed a person. He literally is making and cracking jokes about it. They want to silence me. And turns out he's evil. And I'm like, wow. Wow, who would have expected? Wow. Yeah, it's like this is not shock value for me. This in no way is shock value to me. Then further along that episode, they go into this place that's only for superheroes of a certain level, and all of them are doing just some kind of debaucherous sex acts in some kind of place, and they emphasize this Christian superhero who is a really prolific Christian dude, and turns out he's gay. Wow. Who would have seen that coming? Wow. Oh wow. Wow. Mind blown. Absolute wow. Such shock value. Wow. The big people in front of the cameras are fake, and most people are evil. Wow. Who would have expected that ever? Wow. And then turns out the 7 also are evil, debaucherous piece of S. Wow. Who would have expected that one? Wow. Homelander kills innocents. Wow. Who would have expected? Yeah, that was literally me watching the first episode of The Boys, and obviously it just didn't hit. Anti-superhero or the world is corrupt and people are bad is my everyday life. I worked in the government. This is not shock factor. This is nothing new for me.
Style of storytelling and continuing the story from season 1. I don't want to spoil anything, but like, yeah, the way it ended felt pretty open-ended, where there was much to be done after that story. I thought it was very clear, especially with like the teaser at the end. So I'm surprised this rumor gained any traction at all. Certainly there's plenty of room to explore new stories and new characters in Fallout. That was kind of one of the biggest problems with the series. There's so many different states, so many different factions that we just don't know.
Is that it, by the way? Are we gonna have to end this video with me just saying, wow, The Boys? I honestly kind of do want to rewatch The Boys, because there is a little bit more to them than the shock value plot thing. But season 3 and 4, as much as I understand, is so ridiculously bad, and it gets so ridiculously politicized, which I don't want to deal with, honestly. You know? The Homelander is just a sad, bad reference to Trump, and this is what always happens with these bad showrunners when they want to be, look at how bad one side of X argument is, and then they are so incompetent, or that people start to be like, hey, I like the bad guy, he's funny, at least he's interesting, and the showrunners are like, oh my god, this was not our intent, we wanted to show how evil he is. Well, yeah, we as the audience see that he's evil, but he's still a fun character, so we like him, but you're supposed to hate them. Yeah, I don't want to deal with that with The Boys. I honestly don't. Well, anyway, that was Mr. Matty Plays 10 out of 10. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.